Hello and welcome to e-GMAT. We will solve question number 55 of OG Verbal 2nd edition by using e-GMAT 3-step process. In the first step, we will understand the meaning of the sentence. In the second, we will evaluate the errors in the sentence, and finally, we will review all the answer choices to get to the correct answer. So let's begin. The energy source on Voyager 2 is not a nuclear reactor in which atoms are actively broken apart, rather a kind of nuclear battery that uses natural radioactive decay to produce power. Now this sentence presents a contrast, and the word rather is the marker of that contrast. It says that the energy source on Voyager 2 is not a nuclear reactor. It is rather a kind of nuclear battery that uses natural radioactive decay to produce power. In nuclear reactor, atoms are actively broken apart to generate power. Now let us evaluate the errors by splitting this sentence into its clauses. So here comes the first clause. The energy source on Voyager 2 is not a nuclear reactor in which, here energy source on Voyager 2 is the subject and is not is the verb. Now Voyager 2 cannot be the subject in this clause because it lies in the prepositional phrase that modifies energy source. Energy source, being the head of this clause, decides the number of the verb. Since energy source is a singular noun, it uses the singular verb is, presence of which means we have another clause here that reads, atoms are actively broken apart, rather a kind of nuclear battery. Here atoms is the subject and are broken is the verb. Presence of that means we have another clause, and it reads that uses natural radioactive decay to produce power. Here that is the subject and uses is the verb. Now semicolon joins two independent clauses, but what we have after semicolon here is a fragment because this portion of the sentence does not have a proper subject verb pair. So we have sentence structure error in this sentence. Well, this error can be rectified in two ways. Either we should correct this error by joining two independent clauses with semicolon, or it can be done by removing this semicolon and adding but before rather. Then the structure of the sentence will become X is not X, A is not X but rather Y, where X and Y should be grammatically as logically parallel. Well, if we study it closely, this sentence actually follows this structure because here we have the energy source in Voyager 2 is not a nuclear reactor, that stands for X. But well, we don't have but we have rather, and what follows rather is a kind of nuclear battery. So here X and Y are logically as well as grammatically parallel. So this way this sentence structure can be taken care of. Well, let's run the POE to find out how this error has been rectified in this sentence. Well, choice A is not correct as we discussed just now. Choice B is the correct answer. The semicolon has been removed and we have but before rather, so the sentence structure is now X, A is not X, rather Y. So this is correct. Let's look at choice C. Well, C is not correct because this expression that of is ambiguous. We do not know what it stands for. That's why it's incorrect. Choice D repeats the very same error of that of, and that's what makes it incorrect. Choice E repeats the same error again, and hence it is also not correct. So as we found out, choice B is the correct answer for this sentence. This brings us to the takeaway messages for the sentence. Semicolon must always join two independent clauses. The entities in a list of parallelism must be grammatically as well as logically parallel to each other. Also, every word in the sentence must have a clear function to convey the meaning of the sentence in the most effective manner. The concepts tested in this sentence have been covered in Level 1 Sentence Structure 1 and 2, Level 1 Parallelism Identify and Correct, and Level 1 Parallelism Helpful Tips.